10 hard to swallow truths they won't tell you about software engineering jobs. Okay. Number one, college will not prepare you for the job. Your instructor spends a huge amount of time to describe you all the moves you need to make. He makes you recite all these moves, asks you a question about it, and you have exams about it, but you never touch the water. After 5 years, you get a piece of paper that proves your swimming skills. Then the day comes and you have to swim now. The guys in the swimming place just kick you into the water. You have a hard time breathing. You fight for your life. Maybe you drown. Maybe you manage to swim. I don't know if this is completely true though, because in uni, we definitely had personal projects where you would actually work with people and you'd have to build things. And sometimes they would actually give us what's it called, scenarios from real life and say, okay, here's a real life job and here's a real life task from that. So I don't really know if this is, I feel like this is kind of exaggerating a bit. So I'm just going to go into the next one. You will rarely get greenfield projects. In college or boot camps, you get a lot of smaller assignments that you write from scratch. Total freedom to express yourself. You can implement all the fancy stuff you learn, like algorithms or design patterns. This is so true. And then you go into the real world. What happens when you go into the real world? It's just some code that was written 10 years ago in some annoying, I don't know, language using some annoying design pattern, and then you have to figure it out, and then you write ugly code on top of it, and then you keep going. It's so sad. Is that how it was for you at Google?
It is. It's also not as fun. So like literally, naturally, when you work on like smaller projects, like you get to do them end to end, like your group project, right? Like you build like a little website or whatever. But like in corporate, it's a lot more regimented. You're basically being assessed on your ability to write clean code. Clean code that's basically just incremental on top of what someone else has already done. So yeah, it's just literally not as interesting. And you're basically doing the same thing again and again. Like the number of times at Google where literally like for whatever I was working on, you basically just do a company-wide search for what somebody else has already done and then just implement it for your team that's like the most common workflow. So yeah, I get it.
In day-to-day jobs, you are working with projects that contain multiple layers and thousands of lines of code, multiple people work at the same time on those projects. You have limited freedom. You have to adapt to the project. This adapting is so true because I think you mentioned clean code, but I think it's actually really hard to write true clean code when you're building on top of people's work because you're forced to like carry on any weird design patterns or any choices that they made. And yeah, you just basically have to adapt to crap if it is there. But sometimes it's good though. Sometimes people write really clean code and then you have to adapt to really clean code. So I guess it's give and take. New projects are rare. Most of the time you work on existing projects. You consider yourself lucky if you get normal projects and not some old legacy project. Okay, let's see if we can understand this meme. Start, legacy project setup, start, database, secure. I feel like I struggle so much with coded memes. Code logic since 2003. Oh, it's just saying this is all it's built on, right? And then you have to start here. Is it funny or are you just laughing at not understanding it?
It's like at your own peril, right? Like you press the button and then like the whole thing falls apart.
Oh, right. Oh, these are wires connecting everything up.
Yeah. And then at the beginning, it's like the detonation button on top, right? I think that's what it's saying.
And then, right, because if you're at top and you press it, everything might drop. You might fall. Is that what it's saying? Okay.
Oh, how can it be?
Oh my God, it carries on. It continues. Look, it doesn't end. Half the article is this. Okay. Nobody gives about your clean code. You can forget that your boss will tell you, congratulations on writing this elegant and clean code. I'm going to give you a raise. Quite the opposite. Nobody cares about your clean code. Is this true?
Yeah, that's contrary to like my experience at Google. Like literally, that's all they care about. Yeah, it might vary company to company, but like at Google, basically your entire job is writing clean code. Like that's like it.
Yeah, I remember when I was an intern there. It's the same for me. It wasn't about making it work. It was about making it work and making it look good and being able to explain perfectly how it works. In fact, that was the worst part. The worst part was you had to make it look good. If it was just about making it work, then maybe this is with startups because I guess when we were working on a startup,
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. I don't care if you tell me it took you 2 days to write this clean code. I want it to be done instantly. So I guess that's probably the case. You can think of it as a following cycle. Software engineer writes code, users get a new feature, more users use your product, company profits from product. So code is just a tool to get profit. Okay. I guess this is why Google doesn't care about it, because they already have the profit. So this whole cycle doesn't mean anything to them. They just want you to write clean
Yeah,
code.
they're post money.
Yeah. You will sometimes work with incompetent people. Yeah, that's true. I've worked with you before.
That's a bit harsh.
I'm joking. I'm kidding. Did you work with
Yeah.
Did you work with incompetent people at Google?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Everyone was amazing.
Well, to varying levels, people are amazing at different things, I guess. I think that it is, I guess what he's saying again is like a provocative take on what is, I guess, a genuine comment, which is like you work with people of varying levels of understanding technical nous. So like, you know, it's like you're literally going to work with people if you don't understand how long it will take for you to deliver a project because they don't code. Like you might work with, project managers, that sort of thing. So I do get that. And like naturally, like you might literally be like when we work together, like you're literally like right in the front end of somebody's back end. Maybe the back end might be slower, or vice versa. So like I can understand that, right? Like when you're dependent on another service, being pushed by another developer, you're writing that at a slower rate. So that can happen. But I wouldn't go as far as saying incompetent. I would just say like different skill sets, like focus, different level of technical expertise at the thing you're doing.
Yeah. I wonder if that's because you think some people at Google are going to see this, so you're afraid they're going to see what you're using about them.
That might be why. That might be why.
Okay, moving on. Oh,
I don't want to get blacklisted.
This one is so true. Get used to being in meetings for hours. Meetings are an important part of the software development job. Some of them are good, but some of them are just time wasters.
Yeah, boy, this one hits.
This one hits.
This one
hard. This is how
it's crazy how you can get tired from doing nothing.
Yes.
Well, what feels like nothing. Like you can basically be sat there and be drained of energy from just sitting down. Nobody told me that sitting was a difficult thing until I started going to all hands.
I'll never forget being at Google and just being so. And the worst thing is, you can't show you're sleepy while someone else is talking because that's like the most rude thing you could possibly do. So it's just
you can't even like open your laptop while someone is talking. Like it literally, that's like frowned upon. Like you can't even feign doing work. Like it must be like a sit down and like pay attention thing.
This should be number one in my opinion. This is like what everyone should know about. Okay, they will ask you for estimates a lot of times. Business revolves around numbers. Every project has its cost, and to calculate the cost, management needs to estimate how long it will take. Is this bad though? Don't every job they ask you for estimate? Is this like something
they do? But I've always found that strange from like creative work. Or like creative work where like you're, it's not as mechanistic as like, I guess you are building something and you'd like to think if you're building something that has been built before, like you can actually just estimate how long that takes. But it's just like, it's so hard to like predict like unforeseen like blockers that like, this was always something that I found jarring. When it's like, okay, it's going to be done like in, T amount of time. And you're like, I mean, if I haven't done it before, I don't know. And like, you never know, like literally I'm dependent on a third party and like that thing might just delay my expectations. I always find this hard. I guess you were a story point setter. You were the kind of guy who like, you loved your story point.
Extra large t-shirt
extra
sizes.
Large story point.
Medium, small.
Yeah, you had all the names for all the different ways of measuring timelines.
I think this is a good way to solve it though. If I need to deliver some feature, I think it will take 2 days. I add roughly 40%. I think for me that always works. Like whatever I thought I was wrong, just add something to it. But then that's really bad, and that just shows how bad it is to estimate everything. The fact that I have to add 40%.
There is value to it, right? There is like that whole like saying, I forget who was like Hemingway, whatever, said like the amount of time it takes for you to complete a task is proportional to the amount of time you have for the task. So in a way, it's almost like saying, if I say it takes a day, I will make it take a day. Like I would like as soon as you basically put like the deadlines on it, it kind of like constrains what you can get done. So this thing is actually valuable, right? Because like when the whole team basically says, oh, this is like a 10 story points. You're basically saying, I expect the scope of the work to be like this small. So build something that's this small versus like, it's going to take a quarter. Like I expect it to, be grand. So build something grand. So there is like some value in throwing these, of course, like time frames on these things in the first place.
That's true. So it's like the Elon Musk way, where he gives his team 1 year to figure out how to land how to catch a 22-story building from the sky. I guess that was.
Yeah.
Bugs, whatever. Uncertainty will be your toxic friend. That's similar to the first one. Let's jump to the last one. You will profit more from good soft skills than from good technical. Oh my God, this is so true. Technical skills are the ones you can learn easily. With different projects, you can understand a particular programming language. You can learn its syntax, pros and cons. It's just a matter of practice. On the other hand, soft skills are much harder to improve. Improvements takes a lot of mental strength. You must do things you're not comfortable with. Is this true?
The one thing that I learned from one of my longest serving managers at Google that I did not expect was how to write a good email. Nothing to do with coding, but like the art of structured communication was something that I did not expect to pick up, that I picked up. So I agree with that one.
Yeah, I would say, like 100% the people I saw making the most money. It's either you're a genius and you can build Google Brain yourself, or you should be technical and have some soft skill. That's exactly how you earn the most money. I think at Google, those are the two types of people I saw earning the big bucks. They had to. So if you're not going to be a PhD, Olympiad, whatever they call the computing Olympiads from Romania that have been doing it since 4 years old. Then the best thing you could do is just like be really good at talking to people, because that's the only way you're going to climb your way to the top.
Another reason why is like the way promotions work is you literally have to write what they call like a packet. Like you basically write a promotion packet where you explain, in natural language in English, what you have done to deserve the promotion. So that's literally like, in other words, you get promoted based on how well you can like communicate what you've done, period. So everyone who's like above like a senior engineer at Google is basically somebody like my old manager used to say, who has like the command of the English language. And of course that like takes you all the way up to CEO, like, because at some point at a company that's like so large, it becomes difficult to even, like ascertain who is really like responsible for like moving any of the numbers at Google, right? Like it's so huge and you're so small. So at some point it's literally just about your ability to convince people that you had actually done something that was impactful. So I completely agree with this one. Like, that's probably like a lesson to life in general, like outside of engineering, like soft skills. That's like, as Naval says, right? You'd rather be a salesperson than an engineer. Like it's literally the way to make it in the world. Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there. Be a salesperson, not an engineer.